All right, Travis, thanks for joining me here today. So, for those that are listening in, if you could briefly describe your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself.
All right, I am Travis Pluhar from Eastern Montana. I'm married, have three kids, still live at home here with me. We have about 400 cow-calf pairs and raise our own seed stock. And my brother works on the ranch here, and my father is still here also. So we're just trying to, I guess, make all the ends meet.
Staying busy year round.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
for sure. So, kind of explain to me, if you could, what really was not working in either life, personal, that what was really not working before you came into Legacy Farmer?
So probably just we didn't have a good grip of our numbers. We had a kind of a pretty poor excuse for budget and everything every year, but you know a lot of it was just like my father used to do is, well, it's been working for 40 years, we'll just do it like that again, and but 40 years ago he had 20 cows or 50 cows, whatever it was, and it's a whole different ball game because of that.
Yeah. Just do you feel like there just was never a process that you got taught on, about business, about entity structure, tracking the numbers, what the bank's looking at? Like, do you feel like there was ever a time period, and this might even include college, right? We all go through college, hey, go get your 4-year degree, get an ag business degree. You need to know this stuff. Do you ever feel like you truly though understood the things that you needed to know to operate a farming operation?
Not like a business, not like it's supposed to be. Yeah, I knew how to pull a calf, I knew how to feed the cows, I knew how to check the water tank, fix the water tank, or whatever needed to do out the cows. But did I know how to run a business? No, it was not that way. And I didn't go to a 4-year college. I went to just a diesel tech school. Just for that reason, I didn't really want to go to a long school, 4-year school, or pay for the money to go to it. Just so I didn't, but it's been good. But it's definitely a learning curve. Definitely need to learn things. I wish somehow they would teach you. You would go into the bank and say, "Hey, we need this money." Okay, you did write it off. It was no, why do you need that money? What do you need it? How do you project you can make that money work, or more? And so
So kind of explain to me before, if you could, the way that the business side was set up. So when it came to, like, explain to me, if you could, what kind of bookkeeping systems, cash flows, like how did you prep for the year for your next, so like a lot of guys right now in February, right? We're getting ready for getting our operating lines of credit, buying our input costs, and just getting ready for the next year and really tracking our numbers throughout the year. Explain to me, if you could, the system that you guys had in place before coming in a Legacy Farmer.
so the system we had in place, we didn't have any cash flow. We had simple projections, and it was, well, we'll need this much for diesel, and we'll need this much for different things, salt and mineral or whatever, hay. But it was just a guess, and it was a lot of times it was August, September. Well, we're out of money, we better go ask the bank for more money, and it was never a big deal. The bank's always, okay, we'll just add another X amount onto your account, and you just pay it off when it comes time. And there was no bookkeeping. I mean, yeah, there wasn't, not really any bookkeeping. It was a pretty poor excuse for bookkeeping.
Well, how, like, now you're operating out of those 12 months, like how much uncertainty was there in knowing your position, like as it were through the bank? Because there, without having any way to really track the numbers throughout the year, like how did that kind of screw with you mentally operating the business? Was it just kind of like a guess?
It was, and it wasn't like I was too worried about it. It's been working for 40 years, so it's got to work this year too. And yeah, there was some years like last year, especially with the drought, and have to, you know, cash flow works out, but we had to sell half our herd because of, the drought. But it just there was no like end in sight or no end game. It was just, well, this is what you do, that's what you have to do, and everybody else is doing it, so we better do it too. And didn't really know how to
to do it.
correct it, or yeah.
So what's been the biggest change then for you? Okay, we brought you into Legacy Farmer, right? You made it through the gates. We first got clear on, what's the problem? What do we need to focus on? Introduce farmer metrics and really introducing you to this new system to one, not only train and teach you about your numbers, but also how the bank is looking at those numbers. Because it's good to know, where your cash flow is at and those things to make decisions. But how about for, what the bank's looking at? How do they make an adjustment to my operating line of credit? Okay, if I have a, 5.5% operating line of credit, how do I get that negotiated down? Right. We haven't been taught how to do that. And so that's really what we're trying to teach you guys how to do. So kind of share with me what's changed for you since we brought you into this.
One of the things that changed, I believe, is, so my dad is a really just laid back, I don't think I've ever seen him mad. And then he doesn't like confrontation. So he would not go to the banker and say, hey, I need to lower this interest rate. He just doesn't want to. So he just, it's been working. So he'd just leave it. And so for me, I didn't realize that was even an option. I didn't know you could go to the bank and say, hey, we need to lower this. This is not okay, and look somewhere else, which obviously I knew we could look somewhere else, but yeah, it's been working for a lot of years. So it's got to work again, So a lot of it was just getting the mentality or the knowledge that, hey, once I know my numbers and I have them right here, the bank doesn't have anything, any right to say, no, I should have a lower interest rate,
Yeah. What kind of certainty do you have walking into the bank now because of that?
Good certainty, because I don't feel bad about saying, hey, this it's not okay the way you go. This bank down the road, I talked to them and they would offer me a lower interest rate, and so if I need to go that way, I will.
100%. Well, and like you said, it's just a knowledge, because in those conversations, if you can't meet the other person and have a conversation that is going to meet the other person, to, like, in the bank, because I can't tell you how many times I've been in the bank and it's like, I really don't know what you're talking about. Right. And so you lose power in those conversations. And I think that's the biggest thing most farmers struggle with, is they feel like they walk in the bank and just put their hands up because it's the only thing they know what to do.
Right.
Yep. So, all right. So if someone were sitting on the fence with Legacy Farmer, let's say they've been listening to the podcast, been following along, maybe they did have an initial call with Joni, like they're ready to move forward, but they just haven't made the commitment yet. What would you tell somebody who is literally sitting on the fence about Legacy Farmer?
If you're interested in learning and growing and be able to expand your business, it's a great opportunity. Because if, like many of the guys that have joined, we just didn't know, like Andy said, we just, it's knowledge. And that's what Legacy Farmer is all about, is helping you understand your numbers and understand where you can go with them and what you can do with them, rather than just, I don't know what to do. I don't understand what the banker's saying. He knows more than me. And that's not the case. A lot of times he doesn't have a clue sometimes. And so you have the right to say, no, my numbers are good, and this is why, and I will be able to pay you back.
Would you agree that this gives more clarity or gives more projections on the next 5 to 10 years in your operation? Okay, not just next year. How about let's look at 5 to 10 years down the road? Do you feel like that has shed some light on the long-term plan for you?
Yes, it should on everybody if they go through with this, because they say, okay, I can do this year, and then if I can continue to progress or find other ways to help, then I don't see why this wouldn't just be everything for my ranch, because it would help me stay out of debt and stay on top of my numbers.
I think that's where a lot of people get held up at, is they see the first initial investment, right? And they get scared of it. The thing that we challenge them on is what's going to happen 5 years from now, 3 years from now. This isn't, if we can get you to see, and this is why you guys and the members we have inside of here are so special is because those who do make it through, make the commitment, they have this understanding that, hey, this isn't just a 1 year fix. Like this is a 3 to 5 to 10, 20 year fix. And I'm able to see, but it's because of the decisions I decide to make today are going to affect me 5 to 10 years from now. And that's where it comes back in. Yeah.
Yep. And I hope that, even 50 years down the road, it would still be, and where you're implementing this and able to keep it into effect, and to where even, my children will be doing it, 50 years from now and making a huge difference.
Yeah. Just to keep you on point, track the numbers, and get you in a position where you feel like you're confident in where you were at as a business owner, and keep you on point as a business owner. As you and I both know, it doesn't take very many emotional decisions to get us in a backwards position.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome, Travis. Well, I appreciate you taking the time here today, my friend.